We are Brightside Theater.
Happy holidays, home theater nerds. This is Brightside Home Theater and the HT guys for a festive holiday chat. Braden and Ara, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. But Braden, you know what? I just learned we need to up our game. Did you see that intro?
The intro is next level,
David. Yeah, we need to get David Lawrence to re-record a new intro for us.
That's our streaming intro, and I just did that on the fly just now because that's the other one. But I got some other fun festive holiday stuff going here. What do you think of let's see, lights only? Turn the lights on in the room. All right. And
nice.
Is this too much? Is this in everybody's way? Happy holiday.
Good.
Covering the names.
Yeah,
and stuff,
I'm good with that.
Is that cool with that? You guys good with that? Because everybody knows it's in the show notes. If you're here, you know the HT guys. You know Brightside Home Theater. So, and if you're new to this and you just stumbled upon us, hi. Thanks for stumbling into our holiday show. This is all Ara's idea. He was so excited. Why don't you introduce the whole festive idea, Ara?
Well, it was during your 25 hours of home theater that I was having so much fun. I didn't want to just end it. It was like, well, I got to get out of here, make room for the next person. And I said, let's do one on a Friday night where we can enjoy some, some whiskey. And I think I sent you your care package. You got it right there. Excellent. Very good. So we'll discuss which whiskeys we're drinking. And Braden, I know you were under the weather, so you're probably not going to join us.
So I have all of them, and I actually have tasting glasses for all of them. But yeah, I probably won't be tasting any of them. I'll just listen to you guys.
Okay, and Steve, I wasn't able to send you anything, but you live in a country that's full of whiskey, so you can just join with whatever you've got.
Unfortunately, I'm on antibiotics for my throat infection, so I've just got water, I'm sorry to say, but in an on-brand mug
No problem.
at the record show.
Yeah, this is my chaser because I'm not really a bourbon drinker, but I've never refused a drink, being Irish. So,
all right,
So
all right, so I'll tell you what we're starting with. We're starting with Eagle Rare. Let's get it straight. Eagle Rare, and it's 45 ABV or 90 proof. It's a bottle that should cost around $45-$50, but it goes for as much as $90 or $100. I don't know why, but it's good. It comes from Buffalo Trace. So I thought we'd start off with something that wasn't too high in proof. So cheers to everyone. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
I'm not going to toast with water.
Cheers.
I know it's bad luck. So
exactly. Is that bad luck?
Yeah.
I've heard people fall on both sides of that argument, right? Like if everyone's at the table, everyone's having fun, you don't have to have alcohol, and then others are like, "No, don't do it. Don't do it." So
yeah.
What do you think, DJ? You just tasted it. What do you think?
That's not too bad. That's good. That's not too bad.
It's
at all,
it's a little sweet. Yeah. And then you have an ice cube in there, so it'll tamp it down a little bit. And I like it. I think it's just overrated. It's good though, but not great. Yeah. So anyway, we're starting off and go easy, DJ, because it's a marathon, right? We got 3 other ones, and they go up in proof. So
yeah, this is not how you want to start a 25-hour podcast. I'll tell you that right
now. Let alone an hour one.
Right, Steve?
And I haven't eaten anything since lunch, so my wife's going to come home and go, "Oh my God, what am I going to do with you?"
Right, you don't want to even end a podcast like that, right, Steve?
Yes.
And no, I can see it now. It won't be so much a 25-hour podcast as a 12-step podcast.
Yeah,
if you really keep going.
Exactly.
All right,
Great.
so
thanks for making it. I know it was touch and go, buddy, but I was really going to miss you because it's very rare I even get to talk to you in person as such.
Yeah, no, I'm stoked to be here. I really didn't want to miss it. I got super sick this week, but I went to the doctor. I got an IV yesterday, so feeling much better.
That's a team player right there.
But I'm not going to be drinking the whiskey, so I'm going to have to enjoy this later. Or maybe I'll tweet out about which one I like the most.
Okay, very cool. You can do it over
the couch
Christmas
on
or
your
something.
Side.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get it's portrait mode, but yet it's sideways. So That's great.
So, DJ, to go back to it, the thought was to talk about Christmas movies that we liked.
Yeah.
To steer into the Bright Side podcast. But before you and I talked about it, we had a listener ask us to briefly talk about the Kaleidoscape. And this is a debate that Braden and I had early on in the podcast about trying to make a Kaleidoscape killer. We dropped that after the nice people at Kaleidoscape told us, please don't say that anymore. And we were like, okay, you're right. We're not going to do that. So it wasn't a cease and desist. It was just it was a nice email. And so, but we did still try to talk about movie servers. So we're just going to leave it at movie servers. And I have finished or settled on Plex for my movie server. But to be honest, in the last maybe few years, I'm just doing more stuff just through my Apple TV. And it doesn't have to be an Apple TV. It could be Google or Amazon. They have movie services as well. So in a sense, that is my server.
Okay, so you had mentioned something a little while ago in your podcast. I want to say like August. You were saying, I'm going to bring this to DJ. And I'm like, okay. And then literally, 2 weeks ago, I heard this week's podcast that Braden wasn't on, but last week's podcast, you had a listener had a question about something about Kaleidoscope. And he even mentioned me being like, because he knows I have one. So what is the prevailing question? Because this is very hot right now. It's a very hot topic right now on Twitter. People talking about I got some questions last week, but I wanted to hit yours, whatever your listener had. Do you remember?
All right. I have to find it because it was Stan who sent the email.
Content. I think it was losing access to content.
That's what it was.
You purchase content and you're using a streamer and then that streamer yanks it away. Can Kaleidoscape prevent that, or will Kaleidoscape have the same issue?
No. So that's why it's so hard to talk about on social media. It's so hard to type out because people, and I went through this with a listener on Twitter last week, and I actually reached out to Kaleidoscape, to Josh, who's been on the show when Luke was on. So I had I met him at CEDIA as well. So I was like, let me find out, because one of my listeners had a specific number too. So I was like, that kind of scared me. I'm like, where did that come from? So my listener had said, if your Kaleidoscape doesn't check in every 28 days, your system will shut down. Like it turns it like a dead man switch, right? Like all of a sudden, like I need information every 28 days. Otherwise the system goes, and I'd never tested it that far. So I didn't know. I'm like, oh, maybe that's true. So I reached out to them, and that's not true. There's no such thing like that. You can be, once you're on, if you have all your movies, great. You own your movies, you have them, and you want to disconnect from the internet, which Kaleidoscape is capable of. That's why they have the yacht systems and everything. And nope, but what they want is they do check. If you look into their agreement when you sign on to them, they do tell you they're going to check your system every so often. And it's for, to make sure it's running well. If you have a hard drive that's going to fail, they'll know before you do, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So it's quality control, but there's another element, and this is what I went through with my listener. It was, they can shut your system down, and they can, but continue reading on. Don't just read that piece of information. The only reason they can shut your system down is if you tampered with it. And that clause is in there because of the studios. And when I talked to Josh, he didn't know. I emailed him, and then he called me, and he's like, I don't know this, but I'm going to get you in touch with Andre, who's head of their engineering. So I talked to Andre, and I asked him these specific questions, and he was like, no, this is what it is. And then I said, here's how I interpreted this line. And he was like, nope, you're correct. Once you own it, just like a disc. And it's so, like, for all intents and purposes, your hard drive in your house is just a larger version than a disc. A disc is a hard drive. It's just a portable one that you can put into any player. So if you have, whatever you own on Kaleidoscape, you own. The license won't be pulled. They can't. As a matter of fact, Travis, he did a whole video on this. Travis, my friend, I met him at CD as well, but I was friends with him through the podcast before that. He did a whole video on AV Nirvana on Point Break. So he owns Point Break on Kaleidoscape, but it's not available because the license did get pulled. Okay. I can't go buy Point Break right now, but he has it. And not only does he have it, you can delete it off of your hard drive to save space, and then he can delete it back on, but I can't because I don't own the rights to that movie. Okay. So you see what I mean? So does that kind of clear that up? Like, so I think it's a hot topic right now because of what's going on with Sony PlayStation, and they pulled a bunch of shows down, which I looked at the list. I'm like, who owns those shows in the first place? But they're not any hot titles or anything. But the Kaleidoscape won't take those away from you. And once you have them on your hard drive, they can't take them from you.
Yeah, the piece of what you just said that.
Oh, sorry, Braden. Go ahead.
Guys.
I was gonna say the piece of what you just said that surprised me the most was that you can delete it off your hard drive and then put it back on. Because if you consider that downloaded copy to your hard drive to sort of be a physical version of it sitting on your hard drive, then yeah, they couldn't reach out and get it. But a streamer where you own it and you've just given them money, but they have all the bits on their servers, they can yank those off right away. But it did surprise me, when you said that if you do own it and you delete it off your hard drive, you can get it back. So that's pretty cool. Actually, that's a nice feature of Kaleidoscape.
Yeah, and the only other piece of the puzzle that that Stan asked about was what happens if Kaleidoscape goes out of business. Obviously, if you've offloaded it, you've lost it because if Kaleidoscape servers aren't there to serve it back up to you. But will the hardware continue to play even if Kaleidoscape disappears? And I guess we'll only know that if Kaleidoscape disappears. I don't think they're going to, personally, because I think their market is such that they're always going to have people who will want to buy their products. It's a different market. It's a market that only one of four of us is in, and the rest of us are we're not highfalutin enough.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that it's like you get. People get nervous because they think it's streaming, but it's not. But you own it, it's yours, and you have the rights to that. And Kaleidoscape went through the entire process with the studios. They had, and worked this system out, very similar to how iTunes and Apple worked out their thing with the music industry. And to be able to give that product to you in that fashion, they went through all the licensing. And right now, Kaleidoscape is the only one that has the ability to license lossless video and picture, Yeah,
so, they fought that battle in court back in the day when they were ripping DVDs, right?
Yeah.
They got shut down for ripping DVDs. Yeah.
Yeah, they got shut down just like what happened to Zapedi now. And Zapedi just, okay, they're done. We're out. Kaleidoscape was like, okay, we're not done. How can we do this? And they've worked with the studios to get it to you the way that it is. So it's like, and it's like, I just try to, like, when I see it on social media and stuff, I'm like, oh God, here we go. It's like, they're accurate information. It's just misinterpreted, and it's like, and I understand it. I get it. It's confusing. And it's like, I had to go look up force majeure. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Now I know what it means because it's in the contract. I'm like, okay. So it's fun to learn this stuff, but all right. Enough legal talk.
All right, moving on.
Kaleidoscape,
cool.
Awesome. Can't steal your stuff. It's physical media. Let's go. All right. What do we got, Ara?
All right. The favorite Christmas movie and why. So if you'd like, I'll start. And my favorite Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life. It's old school. There's no special effects. It's mono and black and white, but it is just a great movie. I love the story behind it. And I one day was looking through IMDb, and they had like bloopers and outtakes. And there's this one scene, I've mentioned it on our show, where they're having some sort of party and Uncle Billy walks off. And while he's walking off, you hear a bunch of noise. And what actually happened was an intern or somebody working on the set dropped a whole bunch of stuff. And it had nothing to do with it. But the actor, Uncle Billy, was so quick on his feet. he says, "I'm okay," because he was drunk, so that's important to know. He goes, "I'm okay, I'm okay," and you see Jimmy Stewart just kind of crack a smile, as in like, "Yeah, that's a great, great pickup." And then they continued. So that one scene, every time it comes up, I just smile at. But the movie in general, I absolutely love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a staple every year, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
to me, it's almost like Rudolph once you get to be old enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're just going for right now. We're going first right out of the chute. Our favorite, just our favorite.
Let's do our
movie.
favorite.
Favorite.
Number
Okay.
one.
Number one. All right. Steve, why don't you go next?
Well, but I'm going to steal your thunder, Deej, because you know what I'm going to choose. And I'm
Really?
going to upset John at the same time. Because
Really?
clearly the best and only real festive Christmas movie is Die Hard, surely.
Boy, we got there
taking on-
quick.
Good, see, there we
That's
go.
why I was
No,
going last. But go ahead. You give it why
Yeah,
it's your favorite.
But Die Hard's my
well,
number
it's-
two, right? I'm repping Die
Okay.
Hard, but Die Hard's my number two.
Okay.
Good man. I mean, it's a seminal classic. Die Hard it's a fantastic movie. It changed cinema going. It changed created a genre of movie, the Die Hard in a. And as we were talking about the other day, it brought us back to the 70s heroes we'd had all the way through from sort of 81 up to 88 when it came out. We had the superheroes. You had your Stallones and your Schwarzeneggers who couldn't be touched, and they were comic book, larger than life characters. And John McClane then brings us back to the hero that can be hurt, the hero that can be killed, the hero that is vulnerable. And it's a fantastic film. It still holds up now today more than anything. And it's one of only two movies I've got the poster on my theater wall, albeit in Japanese. But it's a heck of a movie, and it cannot be bettered or beaten, in my respectful opinion. I suppose the only question, though, therefore, and actually, Braden and Ara, you can help us with this: is it a Christmas movie? Because one of our number, we won't say his name, John Saccone, says it's not a Christmas movie because it could take place at any time of year, and therefore it's not a Christmas film. Now, what do you guys think?
Go first, Braden.
It's 100% a Christmas movie. In the limo at the beginning of the movie, John McClane asked for him to play Christmas music. There's a Christmas party. It is 100% a Christmas movie. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
That plus there's the scene where he says, "Ho ho ho! I've got a machine gun," or "Now I've got a machine gun." At the end, what do they do? The music to take you out of the movie is
Let it snow.
I don't
I'll be
remember
home
the
for
song's
Christmas. It's I'll be home for Christmas.
name. No,
isn't
no,
it?
no. It's the weather outside
no.
is frightful.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember the name of the song, but yeah, it's Christmas all the way with action built in.
Yeah.
All right, I just killed my number one then because it closes with I'll be home for Christmas. So if you know what movie closes with that, but go ahead. Sorry, DJ, what's yours?
I can just elaborate on Die Hard. My number one movie. It's like if somebody asked me any time of year, it's just the first thing that pops in my head is Die Hard. It's like John said, it was 1988, and you think you're going to see another action movie, and it is an action movie, but it's the way they manipulate you, the way they manipulate the characters inside the story. They use Christmas in the story so well that, not busting on John, but it is an integral part of the scheme of what the bad guys are doing. They're using the Christmas Eve where everybody is going, like the cops you have on duty might not be the same cops. That's why they're running inside. They're like, ow, they're getting caught on thorns and stuff. They're not on their game. It's Christmas Eve. It's a Christmas party. They're using that exact thing as their plan to do this. So it's part of the holiday thing. They use the holiday spirit and try to, and it's just, but at the same time, like Steve said, it's a movie that changed the way action movies were being made at the time. It kind of reset the genre, and then, like Steve said, made a subgenre of action movies that you have, Under Siege. You have, you'll hear later on Christmas Eve day here, Mall Cop. All of these movies, or Violent Night just came out last year. That's basically, it's a Die Hard movie. People are repeating this movie over and over, and it's just, not as it just a great Christmas movie, but I think it's an action movie that is just, it's so iconic in what it's achieved. So
one of the very first sound effects after the Fox logo runs are bells, jingle bells. You can hear them going. So it's absolutely in the fabric of the movie. And to go back to Ara, what you were saying about, on his vest, now I have a machine gun. It isn't the same if it says, now I have a machine gun, Happy Easter. Now I have a machine gun, have a hot dog. It's not the same.
Right.
Or
so
St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. Top of the morning to you, sir. It's not the same.
Yep.
No, it's a great film. That does not mean it's of course, by any means the only Christmas movie, of course, but it is the one. And I'm with DJ. It's the one that springs to mind. Someone says Christmas movie, it's the first light bulb that goes off in my head. But of
Not
course,
to mention,
there are many great ones.
Either somebody wants to hug you because you said that, or they're just so angry with you. So that's so much fun.
Yeah.
So
Now,
you're either going to
that-
make a friend or get in a great debate.
And that movie came out, I believe it was like August or September, so it wasn't even Christmas, and it just kind of got you into the Christmas spirit just before you got into the Christmas season. So I remember that year. That was one of the only movies I went and saw by myself. I was at home completely bored, and my fiance, my wife at the time, she was up visiting her folks, and I had nobody to go see a movie with. I said, I'm going to go see Die Hard, and I absolutely loved it, even by myself.
My one last thing before we get to Braden's number one. My son called me about a half hour ago, and he had a debate about this at work yesterday. And the guy at work is like, no way. He's like, F you. And he stormed out. Like, he wasn't really mad, but he's like, Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie, blah, blah, blah. Well, he comes into work today and he said to my son, he's like, I spent like an hour trying to think of how it's not a Christmas movie. I can't. You're right. It's a Christmas movie. So it's like, and my son's like, that's awesome. He went home and thought about it for an hour. Said like, you're right. It is. All right, let's go. So not cool.
All you have to do is watch it, right? You sit and watch it and go, yeah, it's definitely a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
What's weird is that it's become a debate, because I'm not sure there's a debate there. And yet it's a perennial debate about is it or is it not? But it is.
I mean, it's a different genre of Christmas movie, right? You have like Bad Santa, and you have Christmas movies that aren't like it's a Winter Wonderland, Rudolph sort of stories. But it's definitely in that category of Christmas movies that's an action Christmas movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what do you got,
the
Braden?
scene where he has to crawl across glass is like it's cinematography perfection, right? I mean, it is a clear cinematographic moment that anybody who sees the movie remembers it. And when you watch it again, you're like, oh man, when's that going to happen? And I saw, I think it was a meme or a picture. A teacher had decorated his classroom for Christmas this year by taking a cardboard box, wrapping it in tinfoil, and taking that picture of John McClane's face with the cigarette lighter crawling through the ducts, basically coming out of the wall into his room. And that was Christmas decoration, right? So,
that's awesome. I got to do that.
That's
awesome.
That scene, though, Braden, my daughter will every now and then she'll go shoot the glass. And the funny thing is he's speaking, I think, German to the guy. And the guy's like, what? But then he says it in English, and all of a sudden he understands it. Oh, shoot the glass. I get it, because that's my second language. I get what that means. I'm going to shoot the glass. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
All right, Braden, your favorite.
I think the joke being that sorry. I think the joke is that Hans Gruber doesn't actually speak German very well, and that's the joke. It's the Scheistenfinster. And the joke being that you're just pretending you don't.
Steve knows all
German
the languages.
You mean Bill Clay? Bill Clay?
Bill Clay. Yes, indeed. Yeah, Hans Gruber, Bill Clay, whatever he prefers.
I love that. That was so great. No bullets. Let's just do the movie for everybody. Come on, let's go.
Quote it. Sorry, Braden. Go on,
F in California.
Right. So for mine, this is going to get controversial because you may not believe this to be a Christmas movie, but you have to rewind 1 year back to 1987. And the movie that came out in 1987 that was my favorite Christmas movie of all time is Lethal Weapon, the original Lethal Weapon. And I love it.
Nice.
I think it is a better movie than Die Hard.
We're reversed.
Yeah, and I think that it is definitely as much a Christmas movie as Die Hard is. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that original Lethal Weapon, and that's the one where they closed with, because everybody almost died at the end. They closed with "I'll Be Home for Christmas." It was a phenomenal movie. I really enjoyed that first one. And even when you're going through those moments where, like, Riggs, you thought Riggs was going to take his own life, Bugs Bunny's singing a Christmas song in the background.
Yeah.
Right? It is Christmas throughout the whole movie.
Not only that, it's like, I mean, to get dark, but like that's the suicide rates are higher at Christmas. The depression rates are higher. So that plays that part of the, and what Riggs is going through, having lost his wife, is going to really flare up at Christmas time. Right. And it's like, have you seen the opening to that didn't get, it's the special edition when he goes to
I
the
don't
school.
think so. I don't think so. No, the opening is just
It's
the lady
awesome.
falling, right? Okay.
Yeah. No, this is, I think, Steve, does it actually open with,
it's not the opening. It's the first time we meet Riggs, though. The first
right.
time you
It's
see
before the
Riggs,
Christmas
he's at the
tree
school.
thing.
Yeah. It's a school shooting.
It's a school shooting situation, and he goes in, and it's the same thing. Like, he doesn't care if he lives or dies, and he just walks up and you find it. I think it's on one of the special editions, right, Steve?
Yeah, the DVD definitely has it. I think it's on the Blu-ray as well. I think so. But it's a whole action sequence that was cut.
Yeah.
All right. So let me throw this out there. There is a debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I think we all agreed it is. Is Lethal Weapon a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Again.
It's my number two.
Well, what is it is it transitive or associative property equality?
I didn't know there was going to be math.
Well, that's my point. Is if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I'm thinking Lethal Weapon's in the same genre, I think it's associative property, then you're going to say that the Lethal Weapon is also a Christmas movie.
Yeah. It's. Oh, and this
sorry
is
for the
good.
math.
The Cobra in the chat, another great movie. I've never thought of it as a Christmas movie, but I can see it now. So it's like I always thought of it as a Christmas movie.
Yeah, the Christmas tree shooting.
Yeah.
Again, it's all part of it. This is the thing about, I'll tell you what, what is it that the stuff's going to cost you 100, and I'll give you a big 6-footer to put it under for nothing. I mean, it's all it's Christmas through and through, and the fight at the end on the lawn is involving Christmas lights and everything else. It's all going on the lawn.
All in the background. Yeah. It's I love it.
Great.
And the other thing is, so my mentality, like, I have one more that really, like, people would argue over, and that's really you're getting tough on, but it's also something that I do every year by choice, because like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, the other one I'll talk about later, these are movies back then in the 90s, I would watch these all the time. But then you get like, all right, I got to set a time. When can I watch these? Christmas time, and you take, all right, I'll watch these in December, so that it's like, and then every year I do it. I watch these movies every year, and it's, that it gets me festive.
Awesome. Okay, DJ, before we move on, let's move to our second bourbon of the evening. And it is Doc Swinson's Alter Ego. This is a bourbon that has been aged in bourbon barrels, which is new oak that is charred on the inside, but it's finished in sherry and cognac casks. So it's going to be a little bit sweeter than what you just had. My daughter has tried this and doesn't like it whatsoever, but I love it. So let's see what you think. All right.
All right. I'm looking. Oh, there it is. I'm looking for my ice. I got to put some little bit of ice.
Yeah, so I like that. It's got a very sweet flavor.
Doc Swinson's.
It's got a pretty decent finish. Nothing great, but pretty good.
Would you
Can I ask
Conan
a
these
rookie
things on?
question, Ara? What's
sir.
What's the difference between whiskey and bourbon?
Bourbon is whiskey. It's just a specific type of whiskey. Like there's Tennessee whiskey, and Tennessee whiskey is basically bourbon that's been filtered through charcoal, and it can only be made in Tennessee. Bourbon can be made anywhere in the United States, but in order to be called bourbon, it needs to be at least 51% corn, and it needs to spend some time in a new oak barrel that's been charred. And there may be one or two other
Wow.
ones. There's something called straight bourbon. There's something called bottled and bond. There's more rules about that. But if you like this one, technically is not a bourbon because it's been finished in another barrel. So what they call it is bourbon finished in another barrel. So that's how they get the word bourbon on the label legally. What did you think? You said wow. What was your wow?
That's strong.
Yeah.
How much stronger is that one? I was
It's
like,
just going to get
whoa.
stronger.
Yeah.
It's just going to get stronger. This one is not as strong as you think. It's 47.9 ABV.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
Well,
all right. Now do rye. What is rye?
Rye is pretty much the same thing I just described, but it is using the rye seeds, so it's or rye kernels, so it's 51% rye. And sometimes you'll hear something called high rye bourbon, which is bourbon that has more a higher level of rye, because typically a bourbon is corn 51%, some percentage rye, and some percentage malted barley. And high rye means they'll have a lot more rye than the corn. Then let's see, where was I going to go with that? Some of them are like they'll say they're wheated, and one of ours tonight is a wheated bourbon, so that's a little bit sweeter. That's coming at the end. And so you can use
That
any
one's
grains you
sweet?
want beyond the corn.
And
Yeah,
so
you don't
what
think it's
about-
sweet?
God, no.
And what about Scotch then? What's the difference between whiskey, bourbon, and
So Scotch whiskey is whiskey that's made in Scotland, basically. That's all it
literally,
is.
That's okay, gotcha. Okay.
So the Americans call it Scotch, but if you were to go to Scotland and call it Scotch, they'd immediately know you're an American. So when I was in Scotland, I made sure I just asked for whiskey and not Scotch, because it's kind of redundant. But So Scotch whiskey doesn't have the same restrictions that the U.S. Bourbons do. They will age their whiskeys in ex-bourbon barrels. So all the bourbon barrels that can't be used again in the U.S. get shipped over to Scotland, and they get used to make Scotch whiskey. They'll also use sherry casks as well. And the difference there also, because the weather doesn't change as much as it does in Kentucky, let's say, it takes like 12 years to get the same amount of aging that you get in 4 years in in Kentucky or Tennessee for that matter. So if you see something that's got 4 to 6 years bourbon, that's actually aged pretty well. If you're used to drinking like an 18-year-old Scotch, an 18-year-old bourbon is going to be really charcoaly, if you will, because it's been sitting in this barrel for 18 years, and with the temperature, it's been going in and out of the barrel, the fibers of the wood. So a lot of times, if you get an 18-year-old bourbon, they may proof it down a little bit so as to take a little edge off.
Oh, see, I'm learning stuff. All right, this is great.
Yeah.
All
right,
because there was some controversy, wasn't there, in the movie Skyfall, when to go back to movies, it's not a Christmas movie though. But in Skyfall, when he shoots the woman and the drink falls off her head, and they said, "How does it make you feel?" And he said, "It's a waste of good Scotch." And there was some sort of controversy about whether that was right or not, or whether an Englishman would call that Scotch or not. And I didn't understand it, but now I've got a better an idea.
There you go.
Now understand. That's correct. That was definitely done for the American audience. If a true Brit would have said whiskey.
So we had Steve threw it up on the screen, but
Yes,
Mark in the chat said, "Can the names of these bourbons be listed in the show notes so I can look for them in the store?" And it's like, yes, we can get those into the show notes. And as also, I think let's do this again next year. And actually, like, can we put the bourbons out ahead of time so people can join us?
I think that's a great idea. In fact, why wait? Why wait for Christmas? Let's do it at St. Patrick's Day. Let's do it. Let's do it once a month. Once a month.
I will. I'm for a St. Patrick's show. Yeah.
I will curate a bourbon a show for every month, and we will sit and talk movies and drink bourbon.
A year from now, it'll be the anonymous show. Hi, my name is DJ. I like movies, and that's why I'm here.
I got it.
All
I
right,
got a
next
Christmas movie question.
Okay.
for everybody. Okay. So if you had a Christmas movie to pick to show off your home theater, the one that does the best with the sound. Oh, let's go sound over visuals, right? Because visuals is hard if you're talking about animated movies. But what movie would you throw in to show off surround sound in a Christmas movie? And I know
Ooh,
the
that's a
rooftop
good
scene.
question.
The rooftop scene in Die Hard is pretty awesome, but let's not
Hmm.
go with the rooftop scene in Die Hard.
So I got one to beat it, but Steve might disagree with me. I think the movie to beat right now is a home theater show off demo material. The only Christmas movie I can't think of one that'll beat it. It's Violent Night. Just came out last year, so it's got the updated audio. Look at that, I'm getting all choked up over it. I think it's the bourbon.
You need a tissue.
Yeah, I need a tissue. This Violent Night's amazing. No, it's it's a legit Atmos track. It's got great HDR. I mean, Violent Night by far is I can't think of another Christmas movie that could match it. Can you? I mean, because then you're getting into legit Christmas movies, like you said. But see, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't use what'd you say? The one you came up with, Ara, the black and white.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful,
Wonderful Life. Yeah.
It
That's mono.
It looks great, but you wouldn't use that as a demo, right? But
No.
Violent Night has it all, and I mean, there's a few choice scenes in there that you can definitely, especially when I don't know if you guys haven't seen it, but it's in the storyline. But he picks up a sledgehammer, but it's a reminiscent of his old hammer, and he starts swinging it, and the bass in the room is it's amazing. But he's swinging it, and it sounds like he's swinging it over your head. So it's really using the overheads, but you're still feeling the go around the room. So I think that's just it, hands down. Can anybody come up with anything close to that?
I haven't seen it yet, but I don't even know if I can come with anything close. But I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm thinking Transformers.
So,
For a Christmas movie? Demo Christmas movie?
Well, yeah, I think there was Christmas in there somewhere, wasn't there? I don't know.
Just a lot
No,
of
I'm
lights.
teasing. To be honest with you, I don't have anything, Braden. For like that type of thing, I really don't have anything.
You know what's fun?
Well, you're on the right
It's
show
not-
to ask that question.
It's not nearly as awesome as what DJ just described, but what is really fun is Home Alone. The booby
Oh,
traps,
yeah.
the
I
people
agree.
falling
No,
down the
that's a good
stairs,
call.
And a lot of the surround sound, it's 5.1, right? It's not an Atmos track. It isn't latest and greatest, but they do some fun stuff with surround sound in Home Alone, with like paint cans swinging and people like falling down the stairs, like I said. But yeah, I think I would pick Home Alone, maybe a couple scenes out of Home Alone, because I haven't seen Violent Night yet.
TOM saying Die Hard 2. That's a
good one
that's
too.
a good Christmas movie, but I don't know if he's just mentioning it as a Christmas movie or if he's saying like it's a demo worthy. There is some good stuff in there, but that, like Die Hard, like Lethal Weapon, like any of the other older movies, they just suffer from being, older material. Whereas Violent Night, it's got it all, and so
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
Home Alone
Violent
was good.
Night's-
I don't like the movie, but yes, it had a decent home theater experience.
Wait. You don't like the movie?
The original. We're not talking about any of the sequels. All the
Nope.
sequels were trash.
Oh, I know.
You didn't like the
Oh,
original.
guys,
No.
you pulled the pin now, fellas.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
we're in trouble. What time? How much
So-
time?
Yeah,
I'm drinking
filthy
liquor
animal.
here, and
So, okay.
no,
I
just saw it
will-
for the
I will
first time
grant you-
last year.
I'll grant you it's a it's a dumb movie. In fact, try doing it this way. Count how many times those guys would be dead for the things that happened. Because they are
Yeah.
the real action heroes, especially in Home Alone 2. Not so much in Home Alone 1, but in Home Alone 2, they like fall off the stairs, fall through the roof, and end up in the basement on their back, and they just kind of shake it off. If I just fall down, you're calling 911 for me. But it's so I agree. It's kind of silly, but it's silly so over the top. It's fun, silly.
It is,
Batman.
but
One of them,
Returns
one of them
as
gets
Christmas.
hit. One of them gets hit with a brick from a third-story
Yeah.
building
Yes.
and just laughs it off. In fact, he gets it 3 times. I've seen them both this week. They're perennial family favorites. And one of these guys gets hit 3 times to the head and then once to the groin with bricks from the 3rd story, and it just slightly marks his head.
yeah,
But
I just never.
Okay,
did
not saying
anything
it's a
for
great
me.
movie, but it is a fun watch sometimes, right?
I agree
Maybe
with
we
you,
just
Brady.
need, maybe we need to get more bourbon in you, DJ. A little more bourbon.
There you go.
Yeah, a lot more.
They are good family Christmas movies.
See, I feel like
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, it's like, well, I had Tom and Jerry, but I never got into it. It was, it just didn't, I never got into it. I watched it for literally the entire movie for the first time last year. And I was like, it's just, like everybody says, it's just dumb. And it is. And I get that. It just
But it's
never
fun
did
dumb.
anything for me. Yep, fundum. There are so many other good movies I can watch. Why would I go and sit down and watch that again?
Like anything on
like,
Hallmark Network.
Yeah, but I don't sit down and watch them either, unless Joe makes me.
I do. That's because you don't have 3 women living in your house.
No, I have one, and she'll put it on and be like, "Let's watch this," and then she wakes up 2 hours later, and I've got tissues near my eyes, and she's like, "How was it? Shut up."
Well, this might trigger you a little bit, Deej.
Oh God! What is this? Trigger DJ night?
Oh, it is.
Last week,
Merry Christmas.
Macaulay Culkin got his star on the Walk of Fame, and
Okay.
the woman that plays his mom in Home Alone 1 and 2 presented him with the star, and she said afterwards, bear in mind the movie's what 30, 40 years old. He still, whenever he sees her, calls her mom.
Mom. Yeah.
That's how he refers to her.
Yeah, that's all. Sweet. Doesn't make the movie any better. I mean,
but I think that's sweet.
Crap.
But it's a sweet story.
I've coached a lot of kids in hockey, and they really, if I run into them in public, they'd be like, "Oh, that was my coach." Doesn't make my podcast any better.
I was going to say,
what the hell?
All right, Steve, do you have a movie that's your go-to for showing off your home theater for Christmas?
Well, now I'm going to look like I'm just constantly trotting out Die Hard, but I would have gone with Die Hard. Told you it's the first thing that comes to mind. In terms of,
is it the rooftop scene though? Is the rooftop scene your favorite from audio?
That's very cool, but also the helicopters coming down the street. They come down and they go over. If you upmix it to Dural X, of course it's 5.1 DTS HDMA on the 4K disc. But when they come down the street and then they go over and then off and down the street again, and in Dural X those go over the top of the room. So they sound great. And I've got a special affinity for that because back in the days of Pro Logic and Nikon stereo videos and all this sort of stuff, that was one of the scenes that the stores used to choose to demo Nikon stereo and the movement from one side to the other. So it kind of brings back memories, that scene anyway. But that's a demo scene. But then when I think of other Christmas movies that are older, someone mentioned in the chat Long Kiss Goodnight, which is a great action movie, and again set at Christmas. It's got some really good sequences in that. Those are the kind of ones that would lead to me. And I'm very, very grateful to Scruffy Kingman for mentioning it in the chat. The Batman Returns 4K disc is a thing of beauty.
Yes,
and it looks and sounds absolutely incredible. And whilst it may not be a movie that you do to sort of go to someone to rearrange your room with all the bass, it's still so evocative, and so it's really an immersive audio track on that, but with top quality video as well. It's fantastic.
It's Atmos.
And one of those I would have forgotten to mention. It is, it's Atmos. Yeah, it's really, really good. So that would be another one that I would choose. But it's going to be Die Hard.
I'll give you one more Die Hard reference for it, and it is demo material, and I used it back in the 90s. That particular, and I mentioned it on the show, that scene when the safe opens, right? And you have the 3 characters across the screen. That scene was used in like Home Theater Magazine and other places because our TVs were 4x3, right? And everybody would like, oh, well, don't get letterboxed. It makes your screen too small. Well, they used that scene in particular to be like, if you don't have the letterboxed version, you don't get to have all 3 characters on the screen at the same time. Right. You would crop off one because one's on one side of the screen, the other's on the other, and there's one in the middle. So that right there is a demo. Like I've done that. Like, see this right here? Watch that on 4x3 or whatever. It's cropped. And they're still cropping today. They still crop to get if you're watching something on, regular cable TV, they're cropping it to 16:9. So it's a demo to show how things should be showed correctly. So, but we'll have another Die Hard minute in 5 minutes.
Before we move on, The Cobra says Gremlins would be my pick. Hey, it has action and Phoebe Cates in the movie. So you know what? He's right.
Yep. Yeah. And
Theo just pulled out First Blood. I didn't remember First Blood being a Christmas movie.
yeah, that's
That's going deep.
That's I've mentioned it on the.
Wait a
I had
minute.
it a couple of weeks ago. It's one of my top 5.
First Blood, the one with Sylvester Stallone, and
Yeah.
didn't he go up in the caves or something?
He
That
went
was
up in the
Christmas?
woods. Yeah,
In the
because
woods.
it was-
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
but the police station is covered in tinsel and Christmas trees and
Oh, yeah,
decorations.
yeah,
The
yeah.
town is decorated. It all takes place at Christmas time. So that's what I was talking about earlier. I used to watch that movie over and over, and I'm like, gotta move that one. I mean, it's not as Christmassy as say Lethal Weapon and Die Hard, but it's one of my top 5.
You know, our Christmas movies have taken a dark turn. I mean, every
Well,
one
we're
we've talked
actions
about has killing in it.
fans.
I'm the only one who picked
Well-
a movie that was about redemption and family and love. Come on, guys.
So Polar Express had some good audio, but it's a cartoon, right? When the train comes off.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I agree.
That's
Polar
really
Express.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Polar
Polar
Express
Express
has some
is
good audio.
really good. But I don't. It's not like a staple to me. It was good.
Because it's a cartoon.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Well, wait a minute.
At its time.
How old were your kids when it came out? Mine were young enough to where I was reading them the story before it was even a movie. So that's why it's a staple in this house.
I'm not sure my kids have even seen the movie.
I got if you got a minute, I can show you. Well, I don't want to do that here, just in case there's other kids listening. But my kids got a bell.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So we were in Tennessee a few weeks ago, and they have this thing called ICE. And what it is they'll take like a Christmas movie or a book or something, and they'll do these ice sculptures. It's at Opryland, and this year they did Polar Express. By the way, it's like 9 degrees Fahrenheit in there when you go in there, and they give you an extra parka, even though I was like wearing this really warm jacket, and I still froze. And in the gift shop, they had the bells. And Grace, my youngest daughter, shakes it, goes, "Dad, I could hear it. Can you hear it?" I go, "Of course I can hear it." So yeah.
Give me a second.
Good
I'm going to
times.
run and get the bell my kids asked for because they saw Polar Express. So this is home theater related because we're so into home theater. My kids asked for the same thing. I'll show you what Santa brought them.
Okay. Well, I hope your kids aren't watching.
Right. Now we got to fill time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All
No
right,
problem. So
Do you have any Christmas movies that you would go to? Is like someone comes over and you're, oh yeah, let me show off my theater with this Christmas movie.
I really don't. If they came over on December 24th, I'm probably pulling out 7 Underground. It's not a Christmas movie, but if I'm going to show off my home theater, that's my go-to right now. That opening sequence is insane. So again, not a Christmas movie, but that's what I'm showing off the theater with.
All right. I have this here. Let me open it up, make sure everything is inside. Oh, okay. So I don't know what year this was. Dear Santa.
I'm just reading this comment from Paul Hurt. The scene when Stallone whips out his knife and starts helping to carve toys for the elves always surprises me. Oh, he just pulled that up at the same time I saw that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's good stuff.
So,
Good comment, Paul.
Oh, I don't know where the letter is
although
that came with it.
I have seen a Christmas movie this week in which Santa is assisting the US military to build munitions, and it's elves building those.
Yeah.
Even though it's
What
not
movie
Batman.
was that?
Fat Man. Yeah.
Fat Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Mel Gibson. So another Christmas movie.
Christmas
that,
movie.
Mel is in. Yes.
All right. My kids asked for a bell. Santa went over and above. It came with a letter explaining exactly what it was. I thought I had the letter, but this was under the tree. Okay.
Oh my goodness, DJ.
And then when you open it up, this is what was inside it. And you take it out. And the description was, it's the harness So Santa they recycle these. Santa said in the letter, these are the harnesses that the reindeer wear. And it goes across their chest. Okay. And then it had one belt which came off. This bell came off right here. But it had one in the description. It said this one was for the lead reindeer. And then if you look at the front of it, it's also embossed. So not only did they get a bell, they got the harness from Rudolph that got recycled that year. So they're not supposed to tell anybody this stuff because that's, not every kid can get this. And that's all in the letter, which I can't find. But
Yeah, it's
I
like
absolutely love that,
machine,
DJ.
man. You can't.
That
hold
is
on to it. Those are
fantastic.
magical.
So yeah,
Maybe it
that
was
sits
me.
under the tree every year now.
But when I first saw that deed, when he first held that up, I thought it was some sort of prop from Seven. Anyway, that's a different kind of thing altogether.
What's in the box? So it must be the bourbon.
All right.
Okay.
DJ,
All right.
next
Yeah.
bourbon. Okay,
All
this is actually a rye. And this particular rye comes from Iowa. And it was made by a distillery that found the recipe of Al Capone's favorite rye. It is 51.5% ABV, so we're going up in ABV. Now, this is a rye. It's going to be a little bit
Was that in his
spicier.
vault? Did Geraldo find that
No.
in his vault?
Exactly.
Like
That's what they were
This
looking for.
one
was
little
in that
one that
vault.
I have.
Yeah, that was in his vault. Exactly. But anyway, it's his favorite rye, and I got this. I belong to this I don't know, subscription. It's called Blind Barrels, and they send you 4 different bourbons every quarter, and you don't know what they are, and yet there's a QR code, so you drink it, and then you can read their comments, and then it tells you what it is. And then if you want, you can buy a bottle. I ended up buying 2. I liked it so much. So it is available online if you want to go check it out. It's about $100 a bottle, but it's really good rye. And I'm not a big rye drinker, but I really like this rye.
Yeah, great.
Hey, we're going up in proof. We're going up, man.
Can you use this in your car too?
I was going to say, at what point can you use it to degrease the engine?
It's only 4 o'clock here. Okay, at least it's 7 o'clock by you. It's only 4 o'clock here. I haven't even eaten dinner. Braden, you're gonna love this when you get a chance.
Couple more sips. It'll be 4 o'clock here too.
4 a.m.
But no, now tell me, it's completely different than the other 2, right? The flavor. Do you get a
This
little bit
flavor?
more like? Oh my god!
It's
You need to come here. You need to come out to California, DJ. You and I are going to sit,
Get
and
an
this
Uber.
invite is to you as well, Steve. If you come to California, we're going to sit down. I'm going to grill some steaks.
can't
We're going to
stand.
just drink bourbon, and we're
No,
going to
it's
talk. We're going to talk whiskey.
Were you going to say, all right, come on out to California. We'll have a few laughs.
yeah. There you go.
And after all,
Come on.
Everything comes back. Everything comes back
Yeah.
to Die Hard.
that comes back round.
Yeah. You're gonna
I know
serve us
exactly
TV
where
dinners
that.
too?
Yeah.
Bourbon
no,
and TV
I'm gonna-
dinners.
I'm not getting that reference.
Now I know what a TV dinner feels like.
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the thing. The last one is going to be higher proof, but it's going to taste nicer because it's weeded. So we'll wait and see what you think. Okay.
Okay, we're
All
waiting
right,
on that. We're not
um,
doing that right now, right? I'm not even done with
No,
this
no,
one
no, no.
yet.
We still got plenty of movies to talk about.
It's a good
What-
thing I went easy on. Like I drank like half of this one. The first pour was like really deep, and then the next two
No,
were
no, no.
a little bit like
Yeah, go a little bit lighter and then
Oh, yeah.
enjoy those later on. Enjoy those later, and then when you're sitting there with your wife, you're talking, going, you know what? That Ara's a really nice guy.
yeah. I don't need bourbon to say that. Just threaten me.
All right.
All right, what do we got? Where are we?
Other top. We're just rambling. Let's see what do they have in the chat.
Deej, he's just another Paul Hurd special. Huh. He's talking about your bells thing again. It was a Christmas posing pouch. And Joe Hertz says Mankini-esque.
Exactly. With the bells.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Me? What's that? 53 proof? I'll put it on after that. We're in trouble.
So let me
All
ask
right.
you this. Okay, we're going to take a slight detour. What was the best home theater related gift you either got yourself or were
Hands
given?
down. Hands down. I know it. I
Oh,
cried.
someone's going to have to drink. It's going to be the K word. Someone's going to have to drink.
Mm-mm. No,
No, not the K word.
No.
What was it?
No, one Christmas. There's probably two gifts I've gotten that did this to me. The first one was, I'll tell you, my wife she got me a hockey stick, and I was just like so choked up and she wrapped it, which was hysterical. But she bought me a Derby probably 10 years ago. It was for 1080p. Remember those? They were little tiny boxes. They were like $350, but they were supposed to improve the color and I'd been looking at it.
I remember, Braden, we talked about that. I don't know how many times, the Derby.
Yep. I was looking into it. I don't know how the hell she found it, but Christmas morning, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you get your stuff from your wife and you're like, oh, good, another tie. I never wear ties. Cool. Thank you. But you have no idea. I had no idea she got this. I don't even know how she knew to get it because it's such a, behind the rack type piece. It's like, what do you even know? And I opened it up and I was like, what the? She goes, do you hate it? I'm like, no, I love it. I don't know if it works well or not, but how the hell did it just the idea that she even thought of it, right? And it was like, she put that much thought into it and found that piece. And I was like, I used it for a couple of years until we went to 4K and it was outdated. It was in line in my system. And I was like, even Jim come up my calibrator. He's like, that's not doing anything for you. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. It's not hurting it.
How many things did we try that did absolutely nothing? They would promise to do something, but they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Hands down.
Do you remember the scalers back in the day, Braden? We had like $1,000 scaler that we got that just.
I had a DVDO upscaler. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that DVDO upscaler was like $1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they had a very short
Anybody
lifespan
else?
because before that. My home theater gift, I talked about it briefly, was when my dad came home with a new TV and VCR, and I kind of got the amounts wrong. So DJ, you and I, and hopefully Braden, we're going to talk about this on our next week's show. Braden, I'm telling you right now, show note here, we're going to record a segment with DJ Monday or Tuesday. So, but anyway, regardless, that was my favorite when my dad. We were asleep. We woke up. Somehow or another, he got a TV and a VCR into the family room. And when we woke up for Christmas Day, we saw it there and we were like, whoa, what is this? And we were so excited. And it wasn't even a gift for us, if you think about it. I mean, we got to use it, but it was a gift for the family. So that was just takes me back.
Yep. Joseph just hit mine in the chat. I got an Oppo Blu-ray player.
Oh, nice.
Probably my best home theater gift under the tree. That I didn't
That's
pick out for myself, right? Like I buy myself Christmas presents every year, but the ones that I didn't pick out for myself was an Oppo Blu-ray player.
You get anything, Steve?
You see, now I'm going to be boring because
you got Die Hard, didn't you?
You got Die Hard on DVD.
Well, pajamas. Yeah. Because when something comes out, software, hardware, if I want it, I'm the one that buys it. So no one in my family, friends tends to buy stuff because they don't know whether I've got it or not and tend to assume that I have. So it's very, very, very rare that I would get movies, hardware, software, bought for me because, people are like, look, you've got nearly 5,000 movies, it's just not going to get something that I don't already have. So unfortunately, I haven't got a how cool was that on Christmas morning home theater story because as I said, I'm the one that buys it.
Yeah. And that's why I got so choked up about the Derby because it's like my wife and kids got me our first plasma TV, but they knew, it was time to upgrade and it was like, just wait and we'll get it for Christmas for the family. So that was their gift. So, you know what I mean? But this one was out of the blue. She got me my NHT channel front stage because it was sitting in Amazon because I was thinking of getting them, and she's like, I wanted to upgrade. This was quite a few years ago, and she just clicked it and bought it and gave it to me for Christmas. But it wasn't. But that one, like it was like, how the heck did she do that? It was like, it's a Christmas miracle.
That's
the gift that
Steve.
you said your dad got for the family. One year for Father's Day, we bought my dad a Nintendo because like we needed to have a Nintendo, and he wanted all
Your
of us to
dad
be
loved it.
together, right? And like be a family and stuff. So we're like, Dad, here for Father's Day, you get a Nintendo. We had Duck Hunt, we had Mario Bros. Dude, it was awesome. He never played.
That's awesome.
But
That's actually a great strategy. Buy your father a gift that you want. But Steve, pretty much that's why I had to go all the way back to my childhood, because after I've gotten married, when it comes to home theater stuff, my kids don't even bother because they know it's like don't even go there. If we're thinking this is something he'll like, he already has it. And that is the case, and that's why, like I said, it's a old kind of school kind of thing. But Darby, that was a good pull there. I forgot that thing even existed.
let's go.
I still have it. It's in my cabinet over here in the theater.
Yeah, that was a big thing on AVS Forum for the longest time.
Yeah. Yep. So that's a good one. That's a good question, Ara. We're gonna have no questions for next year. What are we gonna be talking about it again?
Oh, we'll come up with something. There's going to be
all
at
the
least.
answers are Die Hard. It'll just all be Die Hard.
Die Hard. I do that every year. That's my Thanksgiving Eve podcast. I've done for the 5th year. It's coming out on Thanksgiving Day. Not Thanksgiving Day. The Christmas Eve Day. Sorry.
If you keep going with the bourbon, guys, you won't remember we said it anyway. So next year it'll all be fresh.
Yeah, there you go. So okay, let's talk about any traditions that you have with home theater. One of the ones we have in this house, my daughters and I, for whatever reason, we will watch the Indiana Jones trilogy, and we'll watch the Back to the Future trilogy over Christmas break, because when I was working, I'd be off between Christmas and New Year's, and the kids being in school, they were also off as well. So we would just sit and watch those movies. We've kind of stopped doing that recently, but that was like a tradition. Those movies had nothing to do with Christmas, but that reminds us of Christmas because we loved watching those movies together as a family. Any kind of home theater tradition movie, that you guys would have?
I have one, but I'm gonna wait because I'm always the one to jump in and go first and take all the time. So Braden and Steve, you go first.
Yeah, Braden, do you want to jump in?
So I don't have one, so I'm going to wait and steal someone else's answer. Steve, do you have one?
Well, in that case, I've now got one that from this year. It started last year, so this will be the first year that it's been a repeat, and that will be a certain member of my family for the first time last year watched all of the original Lord of the Rings and then the Hobbit films straight after. And this particular member of my family was transfixed and transformed and absolutely loved. And these were the extended editions of all of them in 4K. And I wasn't sure whether this person would really enjoy it, but was transfixed for the entire run of the Lord of the Rings, then the Hobbit movies, and then was like, what else is there? And I'm like, well, Rings of Power. So we then did that. And this particular person... I enjoyed Rings of Power.
Wouldn't that ruin the whole experience? That did, right? You're like, and then there's Rings of Power, and there's it's like the last season of Game of Thrones, right? You just ruined it with that, man. You were at a high note.
Yes, well, this particular person did not share your lack of enthusiasm for Rings of Power, and so that was really cool. And already this year, this particular person is saying, let's do that again. We need to watch some more, and let's just go back and do the whole thing again. So that was very cool and was kind of magical for me. Did you marathon it straight over a period of about 2 weeks? Yeah.
Okay, so 2 weeks.
I mean, obviously, bear in mind these extended editions are what, 3 and a bit hours each. Yeah. Return of the King's nearly 4, isn't it? So it's kind of over a period of about 2 weeks, kind of night after night, we'd do a bit each night, And I mean, it was great. And I'm one of the people, and I don't know about you guys, I know DJs, but I'm one of the people that happens to think the 4K releases of Lord of the Rings are very good indeed. They've got some issues, but they are fantastic discs, as are The Hobbit. And that can be controversial, but that's my view. And so it was magical to then see them through someone else's eyes who was being exposed to this world for the very first time. And that was great. And so that will be a tradition that we do again this year between, again, Christmas and New Year. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to that because that'll be great fun to then kind of re-experience it. So, yeah, that will be my tradition this year with this member of the family. So, yeah, it'll be great.
Awesome. Yeah, I would, same thing. I do, not The Hobbit, though. I do the Lord of the Rings every year. One year I did do all three in a day, the extended versions of them. And it goes back to it. It does actually have a Christmas tie to it for me because though, if you remember, those movies came out in December for what was it, 3 years in a row, or was it every other? I think it was 3 years in a row. All three of them came out. And me and a buddy of mine went to the midnight showing of every single one. And that was back when you had to get there early so you could wait in line. My voice is cracking again. You'd have to get there early and wait in line. So we'd get there at like 6 p.m. and be sitting on the floor eating popcorn and hot dogs, waiting to get in so that you could get the good seat. And I have great memories of doing that for 3 years in a row in December and just being like, you know, I love Christmas anyways, but now you're looking forward to that. So now I do those movies every Christmas break or the time between Christmas and New Year's. But yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite traditions. What's that? Could be almost 20 years now, right? We've been doing that. They've been out.
Yeah. I mean, 2001.
Really, really cool.
One.
Yeah. And they are great. I think they're great home theater experiences too. There's some really, really great audio in there. And the video, I mean, I see people panning it, but I'm like, what are you, nuts? I'm like, what they had to do and how they had to restore that. I think to me, it's almost like an education in filmmaking. Some of the jump cuts that they go in opposite colors that I've talked about them on the show. It's awesome. Awesome.
So I don't Braden, have anything like that. No, go ahead. Sorry, Steve.
So, Braden, so do you like The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and then didn't like Rings of Power, or are you not a fan of it?
I did not enjoy Rings of Power. No, not at all. I kind of put Rings of Power with kind of Wheel of Time. I thought they were just a waste. Right?
Yeah.
Like it
I see what you're saying on that. I liked Rings of Power, but I agree it's not as good as the movies were.
No.
And I think it's better than Wheel of Time, but I felt the same way about Wheel of Time. I was like, what the I wasn't in that universe. I don't get it. I'm like, this is slow.
Kind of preachy, to be honest. A little bit preachy.
A little bit,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have the same tradition, but I've decided this year I'm going to start one, and it's going to either be First Blood, Rambo 3, right? Like we're going to watch all of the Rambo movies, or we're going to do all the Die Hard movies, or we're going to do all the Lethal Weapon movies. So I have to figure out which one, because there's no way I can do all of those. So I got to figure out which one I can get people to last through, like all 3 or 4. Because, you know, by the time you start getting to the end, they get difficult to watch.
Yeah.
Right? So, like when Matrix 4 came out, I made all my kids like just kind of binge through all the Matrix movies. We watched them all together. And 1 is awesome. 2 sucks, 3 sucks, 4 sucked. But I made them watch them all. And they're like, and we're going to go watch another one now? I'm like, yeah, you kind of got to.
Yeah.
So Braden, you have the opposite problem that I have. You've got all boys, so you can get away with those types of movies, and your poor wife is stuck watching it. I've got all girls, and the other day, one of my daughters put on some movie on Netflix, and she goes, "Dad, there's 3 of these." And we ended up watching them. I mean, I hate saying it, but I kind of enjoyed it. But it's more, I enjoyed the time with the family. But I feel kind of bad for your wife because she has to put up with those. And I've just kind of given in to living in a house full of women.
I get her a Hallmark subscription every Christmas. So
there you go. There you go.
She can go binge as many Hallmark movies as she wants. And then we can go watch Lethal Weapon. All right. So VJM saying Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
The only thing is, the reason that I'd say Die Hard, not just because it's Die Hard, is because at least 2 of those.
It's because you've said Die Hard every time for like every answer.
Yeah. Well, at least 2 of those 3 are Christmas movies.
Yeah.
So 1 and 2
Yeah.
take place at Christmas. 3, of course,
That's
is in
true.
the summer in New York. Whereas Lethal Weapon, only the first one is a Christmas movie. They're all, all 4 are really good movies, but only the first is a Christmas movie. The other 3 are not.
Yeah. No,
and
well,
Rambo-
hey, and then as long as you're talking that, number 4 is good too. I mean, that's 4th of July.
yeah.
So I like that. Number 5 should have never been made, but number 4, another a seller movie. Not again, 4th of July, not Christmas.
And I just sort
Which
of want to
ones?
go back and watch those Stallone movies, right? Because I didn't know First Blood was a Christmas movie, and I want to watch Rambo
Yeah.
again too.
Well, 2
I
and-
haven't
2
seen
and
those
3, of
movies in
course.
so long.
Oh,
Yeah, well, one is we've been talking about it on the show quite a lot recently.
yeah.
I mean,
3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, one is a masterpiece. The first one is an absolute stone cold classic. 2 and 3
Agree.
are classics of the genre, but they're very different movies. They become comic book movies, superhero movies after the first one. And of course, the problem with the third one is the politics of the day have changed radically since that movie was made. So when Troutman talks about we've had our Vietnam, now you're going to have yours, it's all a bit tricky. And the film is dedicated to the Mujahideen, who of course became the Taliban. So that's slightly tricky as well.
Exactly. That's
the
that's
politics-
classic.
Slightly tricky. I like
Yeah.
it's slightly tricky.
Number 3 has got a really weird political vibe about it now. That it's kind of like history has totally overtaken that movie. I mean, it's still a good film, but it's
Wait, did number 3 have the Stinger missiles in there? Did they use
Yes.
Stinger missiles in
Yeah.
number 3? Okay, I just a little known fact. I worked on that back in the 80s.
Oh.
Kind of like the
Yeah.
original Red
movie
Dawn.
or as in Stingers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I worked for General Dynamics when I got out of college.
Well,
Yeah.
there we go. That's it. Oh, well, maybe it's got
All
more
right,
interest in-
so
okay.
last one for the evening, Weller Antique 107. Okay, so this is it's a bottle that is hard to get in some areas in the U.S. and it is
DJ
107 proof, so it's 53.5%. I think this is going to taste softer than the previous one, even though it's a higher proof, because this is a wheated bourbon and one of my favorites. But let's see what you think. Yep, there you go. Let's see what you think.
All right.
Take a taste there.
Yeah.
It's
Down it,
weeded.
down
Is
it.
weed legal where you are, DJ? It's legal in California. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
with the
it's
weed and
legal.
stuff.
Wheat.
Oh,
was
weed.
gonna
Like what
say
they make
wheated.
bread out of.
My bad.
What-
My bad.
Luckily, I got
You're not
my
even
trusty
drinking, dude.
coasters.
Yeah.
Is that the 107?
Yeah. That
What do you
one-
think?
That's the Weller. Yeah, Weller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that one, I like that one better than the last one.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
other
that-
one
that
was a
one's
rye.
Smoother. Yeah, that one's
Yeah,
much smoother,
and that's
nicer.
not the wheat. They use wheat in this one, and it really kind of adds a little more sweetness to it. And
See, that
a lot of
last one
people
was
like
like-
wheated
that one-
bourbons.
Yeah, that last one kicked me. That Iowa one kicked me, but I mean, this 53, this is a little bit stronger. This Weller actually, it just put my pants back on.
There you go.
Sorry
here
to
you go.
disappoint
Weller,
everybody.
Weller 107.
Yeah,
All right.
that's actually pretty good. I actually like that one.
Okay, very cool. Now in California, it's hard to get, so I usually get that online, but it's a little overpriced for what it's worth. Normally, it goes for about $75, but some places it's as high as $180, depending on the availability.
I thought prohibition was over.
I'll tell you. You know
Good
what
stuff.
the thing is with bourbon. I wish. So I started out a Scotch whiskey drinker, Steve, and that's what my dad used to drink. So I started out drinking that. It got too expensive here in the States, and I decided, let me try bourbon. Everyone, talks about bourbon, and I developed a taste for bourbon, and I'm thinking all these years I wasted drinking Scotch, and there are bottles that if I would have bought in my 20s for like $20 a bottle, and I'm saying adjusted for inflation, today it's going for $200 a bottle. It's just because of the rarity, and it's not necessarily good. It's just that it's rare. So the trick that I'm doing now is trying to find those bourbons before everybody else does, and I'm getting them for the $25-$30 a bottle before everyone else finds them and raises the price. But this Weller, it's also from Buffalo Trace Distillery, and yeah, it's the 107. They have they have cask strength, which is even more expensive, but this is my go-to whenever I want to have people over and enjoy an evening. This is what I pour.
Nice. Yeah, we got what's this? Maker's Mark full send bottles. Let's see. After hearing about Maker's Mark full send bottles, I look in stores for the bottle with a lot of wax on it.
Yeah,
So,
Maker's Mark is also another good one that's weeded as well,
Yeah.
and they have a whole bunch of good ones. So in my my cabinet, I have a bunch of Maker's Mark. I collect bourbons, and to my wife's chagrin, she's not a big fan, and I got kicked out of our hutch. She has a hutch for a China hutch. That's where all the bourbon bottles were going, and she goes, "We got to do something about this." So we ended up buying me a cabinet.
nice. There you go.
Mm.
Well, she's
Is it,
supportive in that way.
Is it
Yeah, well,
flammable?
yeah.
Is it? Is
All
it
right,
strong
so
enough to be
DJ, you got
flammable?
through all four. Oh, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
No, sorry.
I don't know
I'm
if
just
this is
curious.
flammable. 53%. I don't know if it'll burn. It's got to be, I think, a little higher than that.
You got to
I was
be
just thinking it's not going to be
100.
like a metal cabinet
No.
or anything like that.
Oh no, if my house burns down, yeah, there's going to be a hot spot where that cabinet is. Trust me. The fire department's going to say, "We're going to wait till your bourbon burns off."
I think it's like 75%. I think you have to
Oh,
go
then-
to for flammable.
Then no
Because
problem.
I
Oh,
think,
Yeah, then we're good.
yeah, you're fine. Because I know,
All right, so
like, go ahead.
DJ, you had all four.
Yeah,
What was your favorite?
that last one. Definitely.
Weller.
Yeah.
Strongest one. Look at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, no, I mean, for
Put your
some
big boy
reason,
pants on, huh?
yeah, I had to.
I eased them up, Braden. We started low and worked our way high.
People in the chat were asking. I'm like, nope, got to put them back on. No, the Eagle Rare was pretty good, but that was only 45%. But the middle two, just if you were to like ask me without telling me, I would have said the middle two was stronger, definitely, because they just had that more of like a whoa bite to them. And
Yeah.
but yeah, this last one, this is nice. The Weller, it's like smooth and yeah, that's pretty good.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, I got to work tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I work. I
Well.
got to work 6 days. Whew. I'll be all right.
All right. Well,
I just do that for a living.
Yeah.
I'm not driving tonight.
All right, so we're
all
gonna
right,
do this
so
again in January.
Yeah.
well, I'm good with doing this once a month, and I'll
Yeah.
send out a list. I'll send out a list. I'll send you guys bourbons. Now the problem is, Steve, I think it's easier for us to get scotches here or Scotch whiskey here than it is for you to get bourbons in the UK.
Mm. Well, I went onto Amazon because I thought before I had a throat infection, and I thought, well, I want to.
Yeah.
And I went onto Amazon to look at kind of what selection boxes they had. Of course, this is a good time of year for it. But this is one of the reasons I was asking you is because I got very confused between bourbon and whiskey and what tasters are what and what kind of makes sense. So perhaps if you know a couple of kind of international brands that it's worth me picking up or looking out for, then I'll get some over here. Excuse me. Because I appreciate it's expensive to send it over, and I'm not even sure you're allowed to. So but if there's some that you are aware of that I can pick up over here, then let me know, and I'll be more than happy to partake and to join
Okay.
you.
Braden gave me a bottle of scotch recently that is just phenomenal. And Braden, I shared that with my brother. He absolutely loved it too. So maybe what we'll do is we'll do 2 Scotch whiskeys that you could pick up there, and we'll do 2 bourbons that we'll have here, and we'll kind of do that. So I'll be the whiskey curator. And you were talking about going to Scotland. If you ever go to Scotland, go to the Scotch Whiskey Experience in Edinburgh. And I went there, absolutely loved it. And one of the main things I want to do is go back and even explore more distilleries there. It was a great time. And same thing in Kentucky. There's distilleries there. You're gonna think I'm an alcoholic. I'm not. I just like good whiskey.
Yeah. No, it's about tasting it and trying it, isn't it? It's not
Exactly,
like you're
exactly.
I traded a bottle of scotch and a scotch, well, a bong, right? That you could smoke scotch with.
Yeah.
for a
Oh,
pair of
I love
sneakers.
that thing, man. I absolutely love that thing for
Dude,
making
the scotch
cocktails.
bong is pretty rad. Yeah.
I didn't
It's
think it was
it's
flammable.
this
I thought
thing.
we decided that.
You put it over a glass, and it's got like a vacuum, and you light this thing, and it pulls down the smoke into the glass, and it changes the flavor. It's really cool. So Braden, what I do for that is I make old fashions, and I make them smoked old fashions, and everyone I've ever made one for says this is like the best old fashioned they've ever had.
And I got a pair of speakers out of it, right? That's a win for me.
That was a fun project.
Ara, last year you sent me speakers. This year you sent me bourbon. I mean, I got to do something for you, buddy. I mean, this is crazy.
No. I just like doing this. The thing is, I got to get something.
Calling you.
I got to get something to Steve, and maybe what I'll do is I'll start in November, and I'll get you some stuff because it'll take a while to get there and get through customs. But I think I'll get you some for next year, and we can all be drinking the same thing. But you guys don't get sick.
No, I wish I hadn't.
Yeah, you planned it wrong, Steve. And Braden, you planned it wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta schedule your illnesses more appropriately next time, all right?
Never be sick on a Friday.
I mean,
Yeah.
I hadn't been on the antibiotics. I could have had some anyway, but unfortunately,
I totally get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I want to give a little. I mean, you did start the show by saying like you after doing the 25-hour show where you came on. I want to tell everybody like Ara's been dying to do this since then. It was like the next day, the Sunday after, I wake up and I get it. That was so much fun. Thank you so much.
It was.
I'm like,
I loved it.
Thank you. It was awesome to have you there. But he has been so. Steve, what I thought was funny. I think I told you privately. I don't think we've said it on the show. But Ara was so excited. He goes, "I just want to sit down and talk home theater." And I'm like, "It's what I do every week, buddy. Just come on whenever you want." And he's like, but he did say he wants to do this every month. And he was like, let's do it like a home theater hangout every month. And I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. I'm like, it's easy, it's fun to do. Absolutely. I'm glad I rejuvenated your home theater. You were so excited. But you've been doing this for 20 years, Ara. It's like,
and let's get
You
Nick
guys have.
from SVS on here. He drinks bourbon. We'll make it a fun
Nick.
thing. Braden and I have been so blessed to do this show for, like you said, almost 20 years. And we've made great friends. A lot of our listeners have just become friends. And we met you through this. It's just been a joy to do. And there's no way that I can express how much I enjoy this. Braden, I think you'll agree. It's one of the few things that we've done in our life beyond our families that we truly love doing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 20 years, you can't not love it and do it for 20 years. But no,
Yeah.
it's been awesome. It's been a blast. I would love to do this. All right, that's a great idea. We can get some other guests on, like some friends that we've had in the past. I've seen people posting stuff on LinkedIn. I'll hit them up and say, "Hey, do you want to come on?" Yeah, that would be a good time.
I can get 10 people in here.
Yeah, I'll be sure to get
And we
rid of the
did it.
second desk. I'll get rid of the second desk behind me. I'll just bring a couch in and I'll just sort of stretch out on that. And the longer we go, the further down the couch I'll get. And we'll know it's time to finish when I fall off it.
Yeah.
Then we'll know we've reached the limit.
He's talking about my buddy Brett. So
Well,
we got to get him on
he
too
gave me the
because
idea.
yeah.
Brett can do this.
That's how we ended my 25-hour show. Brett came on because he's out with you guys. He's out on the West Coast, and he came on at, I think it was 11 o'clock his time. 11 o'clock his time, because we had set the clocks back here, so there was a 2-hour difference. So he went 4 hours, and he started out, it was great, but then as the night went on, he's like going like this, and then there was one part, it's all in the video, I'm not telling tales out of school here, and it's like he literally just disappeared. He fell off, and then he comes back and he's like this, "You guys all came back at once." It's like we all left. He was
If you
awesome.
watch
No.
it back, if you watch it back in double speed, you can just watch him sliding down the couch.
It's so
He
funny.
sat there and then he just goes down to the side and then off, and then
Yeah.
he comes back in. Yeah, because I thought all you guys had left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that was a lot of fun, DJ. I woke up that morning at I think mine was like 5 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, and I ended up driving up to Fresno for that's where my in-laws live, and I watched a few hours along the way, and then I'm in the hotel watching a few more, and then the next day it's like, oh, man, he did it. He did 25 hours. Even my kids were involved. DJ, you met my daughters. They were even like, did he make it? Did he make it? I said, yes, he made it. It was unbelievable.
I wanted to know, like, what did people think was going to happen? Other than, like, a technical difficulty, what did I just go? That's it. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm like, how do you
That's what I
stop?
thought. You just at some point you just be like, no, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I was.
Gone.
I was
can't,
waiting on
yeah.
that one. Yeah.
I am too stubborn. I'm too stubborn. No way. No, we had literally hung up and we'd already left and we were still chatting like this. The stream was over, but everybody that was there, we're still on, right? And Steve's like, guys, we got to let him go to bed because I was still going. He's like, stop asking him a question. Stop talking. We got to let him out of here. So funny. So, but yeah, we'll do this. I can't wait. We'll do it again next month.
All right, I like it. I mean, whether we do it every month or every quarter, but I really
It's up
have
to you.
enjoyed this dramatically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've either got
But
January
Steve,
or we've got St. Patrick's Day in March, right? So
Yep.
and I'll fix my audio. I'll get a real mic for next time.
Well, that will be easier as well because surely that'll just be lots of Guinness, and that'll be
There
very
you
easy
go.
to source.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a big fan of Guinness. Sorry, I'm just not a big
I'm,
fan.
I'm not either. But it's a sort of Patrick's Day kind of it's a staple, isn't it? It's kind of,
I
Yeah,
agree.
But the
I'm
Irish,
a big.
The Irish like their whiskey too, though, right?
they do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had some red breast cask strength the other night that was just outstanding. And I was not a big Irish fan until I drank that. And I'm telling you, that is now my go-to St. Patrick's Day drink. I'm slurring because I've been drinking so much.
Your voice is gonna start cracking
Cheers.
like DJ.
Cheers. Cheers.
There we go.
It's like 4:30 here in California, and my wife's gonna just like, okay,
It's
what are you doing?
7:30
Why are you going
here.
to bed at 7 o'clock at night?
Yeah. I got to go to a party after this too.
Do you really?
Yeah, and I got to
Wow,
work tomorrow,
okay.
so I won't be spending long at that. But
Good-
yeah, we
good
got.
luck.
I mean, Scruffing came in. You got Discord home theater bourbon enthusiast. So
There is one. Scruffy, or Scruff Kingman.
Scruff
I
King.
belong to one. It's a new,
Is it-
new exchange. I belong to one, and I buy a lot of stuff from different people and get samples. And so if you're interested, just send me email. I'll send you the link to the server.
And
Poor-
the Cobra. What about the guys from AV Rant? Yeah. I mean, we'll work out. I mean, like I said, I can get 10 people in here, but we'll get guests on. We can do. I haven't had 10 yet, but we had 9 people in the 25-hour show. We had 9 people in the room, and so it was great. Some people just hung out. Some people were, you'd think it'd be crazy, but maybe with the bourbon it will be. But it was good. It was a lot of fun. And just hang out, talk. Like I thought today was great. Great job, Ara. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this.
Ara,
This
what
is
did I
awesome.
do? I just suggested it. You're the one who
You
made
pulled
it
the
happen.
pin, buddy. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. And you sent out a bunch of bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Braden, I'm kind of bummed you weren't up for it, but you
Dude,
got
I've still
those
got it,
bottles.
though, man.
Enjoy them.
It'll
Enjoy
happen.
'em.
It'll
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Enjoy them.
Yeah, let me know when you have the Weller Braden. What you think?
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
I will-
Let me know
I
what
will
your
let you
favorite
know.
is.
Right
So
on.
you
Awesome.
guys want to wrap it up here?
Yeah.
That sounds like
That's
a
good.
like a plan.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. It's 4:30. I gotta go have some dinner. All right.
That's true. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm having, but there's going to be something.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Brightside Home Theater, HT guys. Obviously, everybody I think knows them. We're the new guys in town, but thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for participating in the chat. A lot of good chat going on there. We got high numbers right in the middle, at least for us. You guys brought the guest there, Ara Braden. It was awesome. So, thank you very much. We'll see you can check our shows out. They all drop on Fridays. Podcast links are in the notes, or will be in the notes. And until next month, what do you got to do?
Go push play.
What he said.
There we go.
All right.
DJ Steve Ara, Merry Christmas. Go watch some HDT.